I hosted a family barbecue to celebrate my promotion, but when I went inside to grab drinks, I found my wife sitting on my brother-in-law's lap in my kitchen. I cheated on my wife 6 months before I found her on my brother-in-law's lap, and that moment in my kitchen was karma serving me exactly what I deserved. The worst part is that I had convinced myself I was justified, that somehow my betrayal was different, cleaner, more understandable than what I witnessed that day. I met Sophia at a work conference in Denver, and within 3 days, I had thrown away 12 years of marriage for someone who made me feel like I was 25 again instead of 38 with a mortgage and 3 kids. My wife Emma had been distant for months. That's what I told myself as Sophia and I sat at the hotel bar, her laugh making me forget about the family photos in my wallet. Emma was always tired from managing the kids' schedules. She never wanted to hear about my work anymore. We hadn't been intimate in 2 months. These were the excuses I lined up like dominoes in my mind, each one pushing me closer to the hotel room I would share with Sophia for 3 nights. The conference was supposed to change my career trajectory, and it did, just not how I expected. Sophia worked for a rival firm, sharp and ambitious in a way that made me remember when I used to be hungry for success instead of just tired. She asked about my presentation over drinks the first night, actually listened when I explained the technical details, and told me I was brilliant. Emma hadn't called me brilliant in years. She called me to ask if I remembered to pay the water bill. By the second night, we were sharing a bottle of wine in her room, talking about everything except our respective spouses. She had a husband back in Seattle. I had Emma and 3 kids in suburban Minneapolis. But in that room, we were just 2 people who understood each other's ambitions, who spoke the same language of spreadsheets and market projections and quarterly reports. When she kissed me, I didn't think about my wedding ring. I thought about how alive I felt. The guilt hit exactly 3 minutes after it was over. Sophia was still catching her breath, and I was staring at the ceiling thinking about how Emma liked to steal my pillow in her sleep, how she always made sure I had clean socks for important meetings, how she knew exactly how I liked my coffee without ever having to ask. But the guilt wasn't enough to stop me from spending the next night with Sophia, too. Or from exchanging numbers. Or from texting her for weeks afterward. I became a cliché, the kind of man I used to judge. Deleting texts, creating fake work emergencies, and showering the second I got home. Emma never suspected anything, which somehow made it worse. She trusted me completely. When I said I had to work late, she would pack me dinner. When I claimed weekend conferences, she would handle all 3 kids without complaint. She was giving me rope to hang myself with, and I was too, to see it. The digital trail was my first mistake. Sophia sent photos, nothing explicit, but intimate enough. Selfies from her hotel room when she traveled, pictures of her coffee cup with messages like thinking of you. I saved them in a hidden folder like a teenager hiding magazines. I changed her name in my phone to Steve from accounting. I thought I was being clever. I was being an idiot. My second mistake was believing it meant something. Sophia and I built this fantasy where we were both trapped in marriages that didn't understand us, where we were soulmates who met at the wrong time. We talked about leaving our spouses when the time was right. She would move to Minneapolis. We would start fresh. It was all, but I needed to believe it to justify what I was doing. The promotion came through in May, the one I had been working toward for 3 years. Regional director, 6-figure bonus, corner office, the whole package. Emma planned the barbecue to celebrate. She invited everyone, my parents, her parents, my brother and his wife, her sister and her husband, neighbors, and my work friends. She spent 2 weeks planning the menu, decorating the backyard, and making sure everything was perfect for my big day. While she was picking out congratulations banners, I was sexting another woman. The morning of the barbecue, Emma was up at 6 a.m. preparing food. She had made my favorite potato salad, the one that took 4 hours because she had everything. She was wearing the sundress I had bought her for our anniversary, the yellow one that made her look like sunshine. She kissed me on the cheek and told me she was proud of me. I mumbled, thanks, and checked my phone to see if Sophia had responded to my message from the night before. My brother-in-law Jake arrived early to help set up. Jake was everything I wasn't: devoted, present, the kind of man who coached his kids' little league and never missed a dance recital. He helped Emma in the kitchen while I pretended to organize the garage. Beat was calling Sophia. She didn't answer. She had been pulling back for weeks, responding less, making excuses. I should have seen the writing on the wall, but I was desperate to keep the fantasy alive. The party was in full swing by 2 p.m. Everyone was there, congratulating me, telling me how deserved this promotion was, how proud Emma must be. She was glowing, playing the perfect hostess, making sure everyone had drinks and food. My mom pulled me aside to tell me how lucky I was to have a wife like Emma, how she had been the one who pushed me to go for this promotion in the first place. I nodded and smiled and felt like a. That's when I went inside to grab more raw in the kitchen. The sliding door was quiet on its tracks, and they didn't hear me coming. Emma was sitting on Jake's lap at our kitchen table, her arms around his neck, kissing him like I had kissed Sophia in that Denver hotel room. Not a quick peck, not a moment of weakness, but deep and familiar, like they had done this 1,000 times before. They jumped apart when they saw me. Emma's face went white, then red, then white again. Jake stood up so fast the chair fell over. Nobody said anything for what felt like hours, but was probably 10 seconds. The party noise from outside felt like it was coming from another planet. My kids were out there, playing with their cousins, no idea their world was about to implode. "How long?" was all I managed to say. Emma started crying. Jake looked at the floor. "How long?" I asked again, louder this time. Emma whispered, 4 months. 4 months. While I was screwing Sophia and thinking I was the one with secrets, my wife was doing the same thing with her sister's husband. We were both cheaters, both liars, both destroying our families in parallel. I wanted to be angry. I wanted to throw Jake through the window, scream at Emma, and cause a scene that would let everyone know what they had done. But I couldn't, because my phone chose that moment to buzz with a text from Sophia. Emma saw the notification pop up, saw the heart emoji at the end of the message, and her tears stopped. She looked at me with this expression I had never seen before, like she was seeing me clearly for the first time. "You too?" she asked, and her voice was steady now. I couldn't answer. Jake was looking between us like he was watching a car accident in slow motion. Emma laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. It was bitter and broken and final. "Steve from accounting?" she asked, and I knew she had known all along. "Steve from accounting sends heart emojis?" The sliding door opened, and my 8-year-old daughter came in. "Daddy, Grandpa wants to make a toast for you." She was bouncing with excitement, chocolate cake smeared on her face, completely oblivious to the fact that her parents' marriage had just died in this kitchen. Emma wiped her eyes quickly and put on a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "We'll be right out, sweetheart." We went back to the party. All three of you sweary pretending nothing had happened. Jake went back to his wife, Emma's sister, who was 6 months pregnant with their third child. Emma played hostess. I gave a speech about achieving dreams and the importance of family support that tasted like ash in my mouth. Everyone clapped. My mother cried happy tears. The sun shone perfectly, the food was delicious, and everyone talked about what a beautiful day it was, what a perfect family we had. The next 3 months were a masterclass in mutual destruction. Emma and I didn't talk about what happened for 2 days after the barbecue. We moved around each other like ghosts, sleeping in the same bed but not touching, eating at the same table but not speaking. The kids noticed immediately. Our youngest started having nightmares. Our oldest, who was 12, asked if we were getting divorced. We both said no at the same time, too quickly, too desperately. On the third day, Emma broke. She told me everything, and I mean everything. How Jake had been helping her through her depression after her father died. How one night of crying turned into kissing. How they had tried to stop but couldn't. How she felt alive with him in a way she hadn't felt in years. Every word was a knife, but I couldn't claim the moral high ground. When she finished, I told her about Sophia. The conference, the hotel room, the months of messages and stolen phone calls. We sat at our kitchen table, the same one where I had found her with Jake, and laid out our sins like playing cards. She cried. I cried. We both apologized and promised to try to get counseling to fix this for the kids. For exactly 1 week, we went to sleep holding hands, thinking we could rebuild from the rubble. Then Emma found out she was pregnant. The test was sitting on the bathroom counter when I came home from work. 3 tests, actually, all positive. Emma was sitting on our bed, still in her work clothes, staring at nothing. I did the math in my head. 4 months since Jake. 6 months since we had last been together. The baby wasn't mine. "I'm keeping it," she said before I could speak. "I know what you're thinking, and I don't care. I'm keeping it." I wanted to argue, to rage, to demand she terminate the pregnancy. But what right did I have? I had been equally reckless. For all I knew, Sophia could have been pregnant too. The thought made me physically sick. Emma's sister found out about Jake the following week. He had confessed, unable to live with the guilt, especially with Emma being pregnant. The fallout was nuclear. Sarah showed up at our house at 11 p.m., banging on the door, screaming that Emma had ruined her life. The neighbors called the police. Our kids woke up terrified. I had to physically restrain Sarah from Emma while she sobbed that her sister had stolen her husband. The extended family took sides immediately. Emma's parents disowned her. My parents were disgusted with both of us, Beat stayed for the grandchildren. Jake moved out of his house and into a motel. Sarah filed for divorce and sole custody. Emma and I were the pariahs who had destroyed everything. Work became my escape until it wasn't. Sophia had told people at her company about us, and word got back to my firm. Nothing actionable, no official complaint, but suddenly I wasn't invited to important meetings. My promotion felt hollow. People whispered when I walked by. My boss suggested I might be happier at a different company. The corner office I had worked so hard for became a prison. Emma started showing at 4 months. Every day, her pregnancy was a visible reminder of our mutual betrayal. Jake wanted to be involved. He would text her about doctor's appointments, offer to pay for things, and beg to see her. She would cry every time. I wanted to hate her, but I would catch myself looking at flights to Seattle, wondering if Sophia would see me if I showed up. Our children began to fracture. Our 12-year-old, Lily, figured it out. Kids are smarter than we give them credit for. She heard the fights, saw her aunt's family exploding, noticed her mother's growing belly, and did the math. She stopped talking to Emma entirely. She barely looked at me. She started staying at friends' houses as much as possible, and when she was home, she locked herself in her room. Our middle child, Thomas, who was 10, became angry at everything. He got into fights at school. His grades plummeted. He punched a hole in his bedroom wall. When we tried to talk to him, he screamed that he hated us, that we had ruined everything, that all his friends knew his parents were cheaters. He wasn't wrong. Our youngest, Mia, just turned 6, and she dealt with it by regression. She started wetting the bed again. She wouldn't sleep unless one of us was in the room. She clung to us desperately, as if she held on tight enough, she could keep us from flying apart. It broke my heart every single day. Emma and I tried counseling. We sat in Dr. Martinez's office every Tuesday and dissected our marriage like a corpse. We talked about unmet needs, love languages, and communication failures. We did exercises and homework. We tried date nights that ended with Emma crying in restaurant bathrooms and me drinking too much. We had exactly once, mechanical and sad, both of us trying to recapture something already dead. Jake's wife, Sarah, started posting on Facebook. Not directly about us, but quotes about betrayal, articles about surviving infidelity, memes about karma. Each post got dozens of comments from people we knew, supporting her, calling Jake trash, calling Emma worse. Someone anonymously sent screenshots to our neighbors. Our kids' friends' parents. My coworkers. The humiliation was complete in public. Then Sophia's husband called me. It was a random Thursday evening. Emma was at a prenatal appointment with Jake, and I was pretending to work from home. He was calm, which was somehow worse than if he had been screaming. He told me he knew everything. That Sophia had confessed months ago. That they were in counseling and working through it. That she was pregnant with his child and wanted no contact with me ever again. Then he said something that haunted me, "I feel sorry for you. At least my wife came home." The divorce papers were filed jointly 2 weeks later. We used the same lawyer to save money, which tells you everything about how pathetic our situation had become. No contested custody, no big fight over assets. Just two broken people dividing up the wreckage. Emma would keep the house until the baby was born, then we would sell it. Joint custody of the kids, though Lily had already said she wanted to live with my parents. Retirement accounts are split down the middle. The lawyer said we were the most cooperative divorce he had ever handled. He meant it as a compliment. It felt like an epitaph. My promotion money went to the divorce instead of the college funds I had planned. The corner office became the place where I Googled apartment listings during lunch. The celebration barbecue photos on Facebook became artifacts of the last day we were a family. Emma started wearing maternity clothes to pick up the kids from school, and the other mothers whispered behind their hands. I'm writing this from a one-bedroom apartment that smells like the previous tenant's cats. It's been 18 months since the barbecue, 6 months since the divorce was finalized, and 3 months since Emma gave birth to Jake's daughter. They named her Grace, which feels like a cruel joke considering none of us deserve any. Jake left his wife and moved in with Emma 2 weeks after the baby was born. They live in what used to be our house because neither of them could afford something new with child support and alimony. Every other weekend, I pick up my kids from the home I used to own, where another man is raising his baby with my ex-wife. My children have to share their mother with a half-sister who is also their cousin. Try explaining that at a PTA meeting. Lily lives with my parents now. She's 14 and hasn't spoken to Emma in 6 months. She calls Jake the homewrecker to his face, which would be funny if it weren't so tragic. She barely tolerates me. I get supervised visits, not by court order but by her choice. She says she doesn't trust either of her parents anymore, and she's in therapy twice a week. Her therapist says she has severe attachment disruption and trust dysfunction. Fancy words for, her parents broke her ability to believe in love. Thomas is 12 now and has discovered that anger is easier than sadness. He's been suspended twice this year for fighting. His grades went from A's to C's. He refuses to acknowledge the baby exists. When he's at Emma's house, he locks himself in his room. When he's with me, he plays violent video games until 3 a.m., and I let him because I don't know what else to do. His childhood ended the day he realized his parents were liars. Mia, my baby, tries to make everyone happy. She's 8 now and has become the family diplomat, telling Emma that I said hi when I didn't, telling me that Emma misses me when she doesn't. She draws pictures of our family that still include all of us together, no Jake, no baby Grace. Her teacher called to say she's been lying at school, making up elaborate stories about family vacations we're supposedly taking. The counselor says she's creating a fantasy world where none of this happened. Sarah, Emma's sister, moved to Portland with her kids. She posts photos of her new life, her new boyfriend, and her kids, who no longer speak to their father or their aunt. The extended family is permanently fractured. Holidays are a logistical nightmare. Emma's parents still won't speak to her. My parents are civil but cold. Every family gathering is an exercise in avoiding landmines. I haven't dated anyone since Sophia. I tried once and met a woman named Rebecca from a dating app. She was nice, successful, and pretty. We went to dinner, and she asked about my kids, my divorce. I started to lie, to give the sanitized version, then stopped. I told her everything. She excused herself to the bathroom and never came back. I don't blame her. Who wants to date a man who destroyed his family for 3 nights in Denver? My career never recovered. The promotion became a joke. Everyone knew why my marriage ended. Professional networks are smaller than you think. I was quietly managed out 6 months after the divorce. Now I work for a smaller firm, making less money, with no corner office. My new coworkers don't know my history, but I can't escape it. Every team building exercise about trust feels personal. The financial destruction is complete. Child support, alimony, therapy bills for 3 kids, my therapy, the apartment, and the lawyer fees. I'm 40 now, starting over with less than I had at 25. My retirement is gone. The college funds are depleted. The dreams of family vacations, of walking Lily down the aisle, of teaching Thomas to drive, of seeing me a graduate, they're all tainted now. Every milestone will be split, negotiated, and complicated. Emma seems happy with Jake, which is the worst part. They post photos with the baby, looking like the family we were supposed to be. My kids are in some of those photos, smiling uncomfortably, playing the part. She got her love story, just not with me. Jake got the family he wanted, just not with his original wife. They're building something new on the graves of 2 marriages. I see them sometimes at drop-offs, the way they look at each other, and I recognize it. It's how I looked at Sophia in that hotel bar, how Emma used to look at me before we forgot to see each other. They think they're different, that their love is real because it survived the carnage. They don't see that they're just 2 more cheaters who happen to end up together. Sophia is still with her husband. I looked her up on LinkedIn last month in a moment of weakness. She's been promoted twice. Her profile says she's a mother now. The affair that felt like everything to me was just a footnote in her life. It was her mistake that she recovered from. She was the dynamite I used to turn my life around. The worst part is the ripple effects I never saw coming. My brother barely speaks to me because his wife is friends with Sarah. Emma's best friend from college had her off completely. The neighbors we used to have barbecues with cross the street when they see me. My kids' friends' parents are polite but distant. We created a blast radius that touched everyone who knew us. I think about that barbecue all the time. It was supposed to be the beginning of our best chapter. The promotion, the financial security, the kids getting older and more independent, Emma and I having time to rediscover each other. Instead, it was our last day as a family. The last time my kids would have married parents. The last time we would all be under the same roof without lawyers involved. Some nights, I sit in my apartment and do the math. If I hadn't gone to Denver, or if I had walked away from that hotel bar, or if I had confessed immediately and begged forgiveness. If Emma hadn't been vulnerable to Jake, if she had been stronger, if we had tried harder. But all the ifs in the world don't change the now. My children are broken. 2 families are destroyed. 4 adults are living with the consequences of choices that felt inevitable but were due weakness. My therapist says I need to forgive myself, but I don't think I should. Some things should be forever as a reminder of what we're capable of destroying. I carry the weight of it every day, in Lily's refusal to hug me, in Thomas's anger, in Mia's desperate need to fix everything. In the empty apartment, the divided holidays, and the forced small talk at school events. The promotion I celebrated that day? I would trade it and everything else to go back and walk away from that hotel bar. To go home to Emma and tell her I was lonely too, that we needed help, that I was scared we were drifting apart. To fight for us instead of running to someone else. To be the man my children thought I was instead of the one I turned out to be. But I can't go back. None of us can. Emma and Jake are trying to build something from the wreckage. Sarah is rebuilding alone in Portland. I'm in this apartment, typing this story on a laptop at a kitchen table for one, while my children exist in the broken spaces between homes that no longer feel like home. We're all living in the aftermath of choices that felt like freedom but were just different cages. People ask if it was worth it. If Sophia was worth losing everything. The answer is so obvious it's insulting. 3 nights of feeling desired cost me everything that mattered. The woman who packed my lunch with notes for 12 years. The children who used to run to the door when I came home. The family barbecues, the Christmas mornings, the ordinary Tuesday nights that I'll never get back. I'm a cautionary tale now, the story other couples tell themselves won't happen to them. The reminder that marriage is a choice you make every day, not a promise you made once. The proof that you can lose everything you love in the time it takes to say yes to the wrong invitation, to walk into the wrong hotel room, to believe the wrong story about yourself. Tomorrow, I'll pick up Thomas and Mia for my weekend. Lily won't come, she never does anymore. We'll order pizza and pretend things are normal. They'll go to bed early, and I'll sit alone in the dark, thinking about the family sleeping in my old house, in my old life, living the future I'm awa from me. And I'll know, with absolute certainty, that I'm exactly where I deserve to be. Because here's the truth no one tells you about cheating. You don't just lose your spouse when it ends. You lose your children's innocence, their trust, and their intact home. You lose your extended family, your mutual friends, your reputation. You lose the story of your life that made sense. You lose the right to be the hero in anyone's narrative, especially your own. The barbecue was supposed to celebrate my promotion, the achievement of everything I thought I wanted. Instead, it became the day I learned that some promotions cost more than they're worth, and some mistakes can't be undone, only survived. My name is David, and I destroyed my family for 3 nights in Denver that I barely remember but will never forget.